And we're live. Welcome back, investors. I am so happy to wish you all happy holidays. We're going into that time of year, and I think that this is the time of year when we all start thinking about giving back and doing good and that kind of spirit of the holidays. Whatever holidays you're celebrating, it's this time of year that inspires in us thinking about ways that we can contribute to the communities that we live in. So that is what we're talking about tonight, because we are an investing fund. We help people make money, and the people that invest with us tend to be people that don't want money for private jets, fancy cars, big houses. They have big dreams to give back and to make an impact in their communities. And so we hear that so often from our investors. We thought that it would make a great topic to put out there to share some of the things that we're working on. It's difficult to talk about this because most people want to serve and give anonymously unless you're running a big foundation that you're trying to promote. Most people don't put this kind of stuff on social media or talk about it very much because we feel uncomfortable, like we should be serving anonymously. And so we're going to put it out there for you listening, because hopefully the more we talk about this, the more we can realize that what other people are doing is kind of the same things you may already be doing. And when you build wealth and passive wealth, the first thing that happens is it makes you more of who you already are. You're not going to suddenly become a different person when you get more time freedom, you retire early on passive income, all of those things. You will just become more of who you already are. And so you're building those habits right now, a little bit at a time. And so we're going to share tonight some big and some small ways that we are giving back that don't require $1 million, that don't require you to quit your job or start a huge thing. But some of them are really big things. And so it might be aspirational when we get to that point, just kind of thinking like, where am I right now? What can I do right now? And then where do I want this to grow as I get more time freedom? So we're going to take turns sharing some stories about what we're working on and ways that you can get involved either in your own community or for some of the causes that we are volunteering for as well. So we are going to switch over to Zasha. Welcome, Zasha, and have her share some of the things that she's working on in her own giving back in her own community.
Aloha, everybody. Thank you guys for coming on here, or for those watching the recording. Thank you guys for just spending time with us and seeing how we're giving back in little ways and in big ways too. And I think Emma really touched on, once you do have the money, you're not, worried about living paycheck to paycheck and paying tomorrow's bills. You're able to step back and support causes that you truly believe in. And I know a lot of people get overwhelmed sometimes on what they should be doing, but I think you just have to look at your own situation and figure out how much you can give. So, we're going to first start off with going over some little ways to give back that still make a big impact. And there are some things that we don't really think about that we kind of do maybe every day or every week. And so it doesn't always have to look like giving so much money. You can give your time, your energy, and just be there for people. So we just wanted to go over as well just some examples of what we currently do. There's things like, volunteering as a family, or I live in Maui, Hawaii. So doing things like beach cleanups, even on some of our daily walks with my sister, we will pick up some trash along the way and just help to beautify and keep our current environment nice. So that's one way. Another way is helping your neighbors, people nearby you. And so we do have one of our elderly neighbors. Whenever we do go shopping, we ask him, or on our way out, we ask him if he needs anything. And, just little things that you don't really, that seem like a courteous thing, are also helping their lives as well. There's also mentoring younger people, younger investors, teaching youth about, financing, and really just getting education out there that we wish we would have known when we were younger. That's also another way to give back. And then donating small but consistently. So we go to mass every Sunday. We make sure that we give back to our church, not only monetarily, but volunteering. We clean the graveyard. Our son goes to communion classes right now. So after their class, there's sometimes just clean up the classrooms as well, clean up around the church. There's things like the food bank, if there is extra canned goods that you have, you can give back. And then also clothes. I think a lot of people don't really think about, that, especially now towards the end of the year into the new year. I know our family usually likes to get rid of things that are in our house that we don't really need. It's not things that are broken or anything like that, but things like donating clothes to people in need. I've even at the homeless shelter, I asked them, what do you guys need that I could donate? Because we oftentimes think that, oh, they might need clothes, but a lot of things that they ask for is like socks and underwear and like feminine hygiene goods. So those are some things I'll just go to Walmart or Target real quick, grab that and go and donate it. So I think we can give back in our own ways and little ways, but it just honestly, the little ways, like just going out of your way and doing small things like that, I think will impact individuals around you. And also, who knows what kind of impact it could make on them. Just having that hope. And I think for me during this time of year, inspiring people, but also just giving back that hope of we're still a good community. Like we still have community support. There's still good people out there. And so with that, we're going to transition over to Harmony.
Hi. Yes. There's, like Zasha said, there is a lot that you can do within your own community, small. I mean, when we were on Maui, you go through your kids' spring cleaning and things like that. We keep stuff in the car and on purpose to try to go and drop it off at the Goodwill or an actual homeless shelter or whatever. But honestly, we would just, if we see people on the side of the road or whatever, we would take the opportunity to give it to them then. There's a lot that you can do in your day-to-day, like Zasha says, supporting small local businesses. You can give back to your local food pantries and things like that. Showing up for your own community events, that's really big. I was always involved with the kids in our own local community events. Even if you don't belong to a certain church or a congregation, like they always look for volunteers. We went and volunteered in the kitchens and helped them serve the homeless on the weekends and things like that. And it wasn't a church that we went to, but we just knew that they needed the help. So you can be involved in so many different ways. Sometimes it's just an emotional support of just hearing them out. I'm really big on resources and things like that. So finding anything within your own community that help out is huge to be able to pass on that information to others. Something that in the back of your mind, you're like, I've heard of a program before. And even if it's giving them a card of somebody that had a connection to something, like you had that person's information, it's always good to just make the connections. For me, it's always the connections. A lot of our friends are super reliable when it comes to helping each other out. And they would make extra food and pass out brown bag lunches and things like that. But just being a reliable community member, it's more than just like a reliable friend. Being a reliable community member, and I'm not saying you have to like show up to every little thing, but just kind of pay attention to your environment, right? We live in our communities and we all have that life that just kind of catches up to us and we're running around. But when we lived in Maui, our daughter had a homeless person that she knew that ever since she was 2 years old, and she's seen him and he's still there today. We always gave back to him. She identified him in our community. A lot of our community members know who he is. And it's not like he's always looking for something, because he's not. He's just living his life the way he wants to in this environment. But we would always just see him and give him a little something. And it wasn't about giving him money. It was like, we're here, we stopped to get some food and a drink, and it's just grabbing a little something to just pass on. He never asked for it. Just kind of identifying and being aware of your surroundings. It's not only safe, but it's a great way to be a part of your own community. Being involved with your kids' schools might even pass out something to show that they're doing some kind of giving back, whether it be old shoes. Here in our community, they were doing yard cleanup. We'd go and do the yard cleanup. You might find a bag on your front porch saying, give all your old shoes here, things like that. Things that you may not have to go out of your way for. It's actually probably helping you out. You already were going to go and do that spring cleaning, or your kids need to get rid of their clothes and pass on, or you're like me, you need to move some stuff out of your closet because you went shopping recently, you give that stuff away. Like, don't just toss it to the side, and have it prepared to give to others. And it's, I don't know, I can go on about different ways all day long to help out your own community and help out those around you. If it's volunteering your time, that's big for us, volunteering our time, right? That's what our time freedom gives us, is more time to be able to work within our nonprofit or be able to help others in any way we can. It's a day to day. So how is it in your day? Sometimes it's just you're in line to get a coffee, buying the person's coffee behind you, that pay it forward thing. It goes a long way for those who maybe just had that little bit of need, especially during these holiday seasons, with the way the world has been kind of going with the shutdowns and people are just trying to catch up and things like that. Just being aware. Sometimes others are having a really bad day and they didn't mean to cut you off. It's just paying it forward with kindness. So I'm going to turn it over to Troy.
I think
while Troy's getting unmuted, I realize, like,
okay,
we introduce ourselves a little bit. Like, Chris and Harmony Borden are a married couple. Troy and I are a married couple. We're partners with Zasha and Lisa at Retoro Capital. And this is something that we talk about a lot, like, because you're going to find out as we kind of scale from the little things that we're doing to the big things that we're doing, how much of a part of the business this is woven into. And Troy, you always are looking out for other people. You are always the kind of person, like, you'll be walking down the street the same path every day, and you made friends with basically all of the homeless people along the way and get to know them and what they need. And I don't think that you talk about it very often, how much you care and how much you do for people for free. So can you share with us some of the things, like, that you're working on to build your own community and give back in your own unique ways with your own skills? I think that's the important thing. It's like, what are you already good at that you can that maybe you're getting paid for, that you can just donate a little bit. So, and that's one of your specialties. So take it away, Troy.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say, is that I think Harmony touched on it right there, that it's truly about looking for opportunities to just give back in general, right? You might have a specific set of skills that you're just visiting with somebody at the grocery store, or you're talking to somebody that's a homeless guy on the street, right? And a lot of these people, what they really need is just somebody to listen to them. And even that's enough. It's like, you don't have to go and volunteer for a big organization if you don't want to. If you're just looking for a way to give back, then you can just do that in your daily life. I think the key there is just making opportunities where you can converse with people and that you can communicate so that you understand what their needs are. You may be able to meet those needs without even knowing it. Like Emma had said, I often found myself walking back and forth from the train and to my office, and I'd come across several homeless guys. And at work, somebody was giving out a bunch of gift certificates for a local restaurant. So I just grabbed a bunch of them and just started giving them out to the homeless people along the street. And there's one guy that I would just stop and just ask how he was doing, and just to kind of got to know him and know what his circumstances was and what he was going through. And he said that he really appreciated it and he really needed that. It made him actually feel like he was needed and the people saw him. And you might be surprised at how much just the skills that you have that you're using in daily life can be used to help other people. Looking for opportunities to, for example, I have a little bit of a history with mechanics. Is if I see somebody broken down on the side of the road, I'll pull over and ask them if there's anything I can do, see if I can help them. Or if I see somebody in my neighborhood who's got their hood up, I'll go over and see if there's anything I can do to help. And if I can, then I can. If not, then there's a shoulder to cry on in case they need some help that way. So I think that's the main point there, though, that that we're trying to get at here, is that is giving back can be given back any way you want. There's always an opportunity to give back, not only with your skills but with your time. And a lot of that time, that's really what people need the most. And even if and educating them.
Yeah, that was one of the things when we first looked at getting into investing and getting rental houses, is a lot of times we felt like seeking money was not an honorable pursuit. But I said to you one day, I said, I really want to start this business, and I want you to just think about the multiplied impact that you can have, because Troy, you're the kind of guy that when you have more, you're going to give it away. And I saw like something kind of change in your eyes when I said that, like, oh, wow, we can really go bigger and do more here. And that was kind of what really helped you transition from that looking for money is not an honorable pursuit to all of the things that we can do to help people. Not only if we don't have to worry about our own money, it frees up our time to donate our time, but then also to be freeing up more cash to be able to donate to worthy causes. So Chris, I want to turn it over to you to talk a little bit about what you're working on, some of the big things that you and Harmony are doing. You're on mute, Chris.
Let me unmute myself first, because that always normally works better.
We can hear you better, yeah.
Yeah. Normally that's just how it works. But I think first of all, let me kind of navigate and shift a bit, because we talked a little bit about like the smaller things, but I think they're all equally important. But what we didn't talk about is the reasons why we do it, and I am not going to sugarcoat nothing. There is selfish reasons in being able to give an impact, or be able to I don't know necessarily how to articulate it, but I can guarantee you, if you have never done it before, if you've never kind of like given yourself, and it doesn't matter if it's through time, money, or whatever the case might be, but because Emma kind of touched on it, like I think she said that oftentimes people are shy about the notoriety about it, and it's definitely not about the notoriety, but it's about the feeling that you get when you know that the work that you've done has impacted someone's life positively. I can guarantee you, if you guys have not experienced that and you experience it, it's sort of just like what Troy was talking about. It's much greater and longer lasting than a shiny new dress, as my wife called it, right? The instant gratification of you, or whatever she said, a new ensemble. I'm not sure exactly what she said, but the joy that you get and the feeling that you get from the impact that you make is far superior than anything else that you can even experience out there. It's much longer lasting. So there is some selfish reasons, I think, just innately that we do it in general. I'm not going to speak for everybody, but I would say in general, right? You do something good, it makes you feel good, and you want more of that. And then it starts to become more of like what I'm looking at from the larger scale. What more can I do? What is the impact that I can bring into the world? Like how big can we possibly go? And not everyone, I don't think everyone's going to want to go on that exact same journey, but once you start experiencing it, it's life-changing, and the impact that you can make is life-changing. So it's definitely not all where there's a lot of selfish reasons in it, but it's selfish and to the point where I don't know, it's definitely hard to describe.
Well, I think it also helps you identify other things in life that it's almost like, you know how they always say it keeps you humble. That's one way to look at it. But another as well is, yeah, you get the gratifying feeling for giving back. But at the same time, it might help you identify things that you wanted to change in your own life, or things that you really wanted to do more of or less of too. So it does a lot of different things for yourself, more than just what you're doing out there. And like Chris says, it's that gratifying feeling. I mean, I grew up in it every day. It was a part of how I was raised, but it's like a natural thing without even realizing. And there's a lot of people out there, right? There's people pleasers, there's different personalities, without even realizing that that's who you are and that's what you like to do. But I think the gratifying feeling, but if you also stop and look, it kind of helps keep you grounded too. It can help in so many ways. For us and what we do day to day, I take so much pride in it. It's like I love seeing the success of what we're doing, that it's almost like it's another child for me, like to see our team doing things and our team being so successful and the new things that they get to experience. So that is the very selfish side for me. I get to be like, it's like I'm have another project out there that's a child, and it's a life changing for people. And that is where we like to sit back and watch it. So I think that's the feeling. Definitely Chris hits on it. It's a selfish thing in that way, but it also keeps the drive in there. And I give credit to all of those who do it on a regular basis, because it also can be exhausting sometimes because there's a lot that goes into it. So I think the biggest is understanding what you can do and starting there. If it's not something that you're doing in your day to day and you're not able to get up and go and volunteer for a day here or there, it's like identifying the little things that make a difference for someone. So if it's something like I needed to clean out my kitchen or my closet anyways, there's something you can donate. You've done something. If it's listening to someone as you're in the elevator, you just identify they're having a bad day, or like Troy says, you're walking and you notice something. It's the littlest things sometimes that can make a difference. And like Chris says, not everybody's going to take the path of doing the biggest projects. Chris, I don't think you touched on the projects.
No, I was gonna probably defer back to you, but I don't know. I'm not very comfortable with it. There you go. Let's do it together. So Harmony and I, and everyone's path is different. We were relatively successful in our careers, and we love using real estate to be able to fund the philanthropy work that we do. So a lot of what we do goes back into funding projects that we have going on. So we were fortunate to be able to, and a lot of it's just networking. I think we talked about it. Actually, Harmony and I talked about it in another interview that we did, but we talked about luck and luck being part of it. But I think luck is something that you make through the choices that you I guess have in life, and how you navigate that. But we were fortunate enough to meet all the partners we have here at Retoro. And we were also fortunate to meet another partner that we have in, I'll let Harmony tell a little bit of the backstory, but from the general overview, we're trying to impact as many lives as we possibly can from the positive standpoint, and bringing more economic empowerment to countries in Africa. I'll let kind of Harmony navigate what that looks like, just from a super. Try to keep it as short.
I know. I can talk about them all day. So we have Elevate Côte d'Ivoire. It's a nonprofit that we, like Chris says, it serves in a lot of different ways. We have our virtual assistance program that gives them job opportunities. We have a community that offers training. They themselves also give back, where we're doing groundwork in their communities. Every month, our virtual assistant program gives back, and they go out to their community and they find a project they can go and help with. And it's another way to give them empowerment, right? And I think it allows them to also feel good about what they're doing. They're a part of a bigger project. And now we're raising for the holiday event that we're coming up here in December. We've done it every year. Our partner was doing it long before we came along, and that's what Elevate was. And now it's kind of grown into a bigger nonprofit that we're excited to continue to grow. And after the holiday event, well, not after, it's multiple projects in one. We are opening a university in Côte d'Ivoire, which is going to focus on, Chris, you always explain it better and faster than me, because it's all engineering focused on bringing them economic growth. And let me see if I can get it down. There's agriculture, engineering, computer engineering. You got to take over. There's like 5.
So the basis of it is, so we're in the process of opening up a university to help stimulate economic growth. That's it in a nutshell. So all of the fundamental growth mechanisms from the educational standpoint is what we're trying to cover, all through engineering, and again, different aspects of engineering. So it's a huge project for us. But we know that the fastest way to impact as many lives as you possibly can is through economic and opportunities. And it's just, at the end of the day, through opportunities. And you get those opportunities through, again, it's sort of like you said earlier, there's luck, but you have to luck that you make for yourself. So the education, the proper education, the tools, the resources that they need, And then more opportunities. Our goal is to be able to align more opportunities, and our goal is to expand this to multiple countries in Africa. I think at the end of the day, a lot of it is about using your resources and aligning your resources. I think Emma touched on it as well. Money's definitely not evil. Money does not make you evil. Money's a good thing. And well, money is just going to
It's a tool.
magnify who you are. It's a tool. Yeah. So the more money you have, the more you can do with whatever you feel you want to do. So the more money we have, and again, we use real estate to fund our philanthropy work. So the money that comes in, we funnel it into more projects where we can give more impact. You get to a point in life, and I think a lot of us some of us are at that point in life where things look different. Like we've done well financially, and things look different, right? It's not about the shiny sports car, the big house. I mean, those are nice things to have, but it's not about that. It's more about the impact of lives that we can make in the world and what that looks like. And I guarantee you the feeling of making a positive impact in just one person's life will outweigh any materialistic thing that you could possibly think of.
Yes. Well put. Thank you.
So I think that your partner, the first time I met him, I was in the driveway of my house, and I love this story. My teenage daughter was asking, people were walking home, like walking down the street, and she was like, "Oh, why don't you say hello to any of these people? These are our neighbors." And I said, "Oh, I don't know. We just moved here." Well, she said, "How are you supposed to get to know people if you don't even talk to them?" And I said, "Look, I just, we travel full time. We're not here that." I was just putting her off. Finally, this one guy walks by, and she said, "Hey, hello there. Hello, you." And he turns to her, and he was a little confused, and she invites him over, and she introduces him to her mom, and we get talking, and it turns out that he lived down the street, and he was a real estate investor, and he was living in his basement, renting out the upstairs while he was building a new house. And I said, "Oh, I have a real estate club that meets right here in the neighborhood. You should come." And then he shows up to a couple of them, and eventually Chris meets, and they start this huge foundation together. And I think that it's like those little tiny things that I would not even going to say hello to a neighbor that was walking by, and my daughter introduced herself and was brave. And it's just like those little tiny things that big things happen. And so this is kind of what we're talking about. You start out with finding a church that you can volunteer in the after hours at their at their food pantry, and the next thing you know, you're starting like a big old nonprofit, and you just never know what you're going to find. So some of the things that Troy and I have been working on over the last couple of years, we are very active in our local church, and we try to volunteer there during the meetings. And I don't think, because we grew up like that, I don't think we really think about that as community service. But I always tell my kids, like, our church is our community center because it has so many services and activities and things like that. And then charity, that we're donating money, we're donating time, and just running the community center, right, of just people hanging out, but then also the outreach that we do for people who aren't there. My teenage daughter recently worked at a charity shop where local pastors could sign orders for their community members, or their people who go to them and say, "Hey, I have a need for certain home goods or whatnot," and they could actually go to the store and shop for that thing, and their little receipt would say, like, they need a mattress, or they need some furniture, or they need shoes, or whatever it is, and they could go shop there for free. But the fact that it's a charity shop means that all the donations and clothes that go in there, most people are paying money for those, and it supports all the people who are working there. It was like a work program, especially like for young people or disabled people who are trying to get their first job and get some exposure. And so I never really thought about that until she started working there, that when I donate there, that it's putting people to work, and it's also being donated again to people who are coming in with these orders. And so it's like all of these things that we grow up with and we kind of think that are not that big of a deal can really turn into something big. And the thing I also like about like Chris and Harmony's organization that they started is, I was poking around on the website one day, and they had like a donate button on it. And I thought, oh, I mean, we should probably be donating. And so I reached out and I said, "Can we also donate time? Do you need any volunteers?" And I was thinking that it might be like raising donations. I had no idea. But I saw that one of the things that they needed on there were English speaking skills. And I said, well, I used to teach English as a job, like as a college student, in English as a second language. And I said, well, I could do that because I already had experience doing it living abroad. And then it was easy for me to just jump on a Zoom call for an hour once a week. I think I did it for about a year and just teach business English to a group of participants who were looking to up their skills and up their English so they could get remote jobs because their local economy can't really absorb the skill level. A lot of them are college graduates and highly educated, but they can't find jobs locally. And so giving them better English skills and a better like American accent so that they could then go out on the open market and show that they have the skill and they can help out in our businesses. And I never really thought about running a virtual assistant business as a nonprofit before. I have a partner on another project. He runs a virtual assistant business, but it's for profit. And so it just never occurred to me that that there could be a nonprofit component attached to it for training and making sure people get in there. So I feel like these kinds of things that they start out small. And then if you get connected with the right people and you have the right resources, like you're not working 60 hours a week in corporate anymore, you do have passive income and more, your family's well taken care of, and you want to be able to go out and take care of other families. I think you guys are supporting what, like 1,200 various families through these community efforts. If you added everybody up, it's pretty impressive. So we also want to serve our accredited investors who want to make a difference by not only just giving you ideas of ways that you can give back, but also giving you ways that you can donate your time and money to this particular organization if you would like to. That you just go to the website, you hit donate, or you volunteer to donate your time. And so these kinds of things, they add up. They couldn't run this organization without the participants, without the volunteers, without their partners. It's a huge effort and it's going to take an entire team. And so if this is something that you would want to get involved in, we try and show this example because they're making it easy. You don't have to go out and start your own foundation if that's not what your heart is called to do. But there are other people who do want to start these foundations, and it's easy to go volunteer in them. We have some other friends who he had an invention to have a human-powered water wheel, and he started installing these in areas around the world that don't have access to clean water. And he has the community come in and do fundraisers and build them because he noticed that when they were donating them to the communities that they weren't as appreciated and weren't getting taken care of. But when the community had some ownership stake in the piece of equipment for the wells that they were building, that it was much more impactful in the long run. And so those types of organizations, you meet people like that, the first question you always say is, how can I help? And they will let you know how you can help, spreading the word, donating, volunteering, whatever it is. So Lisa, I am going to turn it over to you. Lisa is our Chief Investment Officer, finance wizard, and you do some interesting projects as well. So how about you tell us about what you're up to?
Yeah, so I work a lot with the foster care system. I live in Utah, so right now it's working with the Utah foster care. And at Christmas time, as many people know, it can be a very difficult time for people. So the foster care system has, I should know what the name of it is, but I work directly with them, so I actually don't even know what they call it here, but it's basically purchasing and getting gifts for the foster kids. And I've been doing this for, God, I think 15 or 16 years now. I started back in Massachusetts when I lived there, and there's a gentleman that I worked with who, his wife worked for the foster care system, and one year it worked. He came through and was just like, hey, we're taking donations. You know, do you want any kids or to take on some kids to buy gifts for? And we were at the point where with my family, it was like holding off buying something we needed. So at Christmas time, it was like, here, buy me this. And it just got to the point, I'm like, all right, guys, this is dumb. Like, we don't need gifts. I personally actually hate buying gifts, mainly because I'm terrible at it and I never know what to buy. So like my family stopped doing gifts, and I started collecting money to purchase gifts for the foster care system. And I, on average, 30 to 40 kids a year that I buy for. So when I moved to Utah, I continued doing that. First time I contacted them, they thought that it was like fraud because just moved there and never met anyone. I was like, hey, I need a list of 20 kids. And she's like, let's start with like 1 or 2. And, you know, now I've been doing it for, I think this is my 9th year here in Utah. So it's just something that I can give my money to purchase gifts for the kids, and I give my time going out and shopping for them. And it's, you know, the kids are able to give 3 wishes or gifts that they want. And it always amazes me, and always, like, I'm glad that we can do it, but it always makes me a little sad to see the gifts that they request, because so many kids are asking for body wash, shampoo, loofahs, socks, underwear, like the basics. And I think back, like, I was very fortunate growing up that, we didn't, like, those are the gifts that I was like, yeah, okay, cool, we got more socks. Like, we were fortunate enough where we could actually get gifts, and the amount of kids that, whether they think about it or not, they're told, okay, you get 3 gifts for Christmas, and their 3 gifts are body wash, shampoo, conditioner, and loofahs. Like, it really kind of hits you that how fortunate I am and how fortunate a lot of people are. So we do have the resources, and the donation can be anything. I have people that send me $5, and I have people that send me a couple $100. I've had people that have reached out and been like, hey, sorry, I'm not donating this year. I actually started to do this in my own community. And I'm like, that's even better. So there's obviously foster care systems everywhere. That one, to me, just, kids are just, they're innocent. They're caught up in these situations, nothing that they did. And they're just in bad situations. I grew up with a kid that was in and out of foster care, and just seeing that impact and seeing how that affected them. So to be able to help these kids out, give them a good Christmas, give them the gifts that they want, is just something like I look forward to every year. I enjoy doing it. And there's other things within year round with the foster care as well. They have I can't remember with the specific program. It's like a Make-A-Wish. So kids within foster care, you can donate, you can go onto their website, and it shows the kids and what they're looking for, what they want to do. And it could be dance lessons. It could be an art class. But a lot of these families take on these kids, and, they have the resources to give their time and give these kids a home and do this stuff, but they may not have the financial resources to give them all the extracurricular activities. So you can go on and donate, whether it's paying for the whole extracurricular activity or whatever it is, a portion of it, to help with that. And if you just have time, they also have volunteers. It's the community that if there is a foster parent in your area, that they try and build support around that and make sure that person, one of the stories, Chris Harmony and I went to their gala this year, and they're talking about a woman who had 3 teenage boy foster kids, and how, she just couldn't get them everywhere. So just kind of her neighborhood and her community coming together to help bring the kids to school, bring the kids to different activities. One of the neighbors came over and taught the boys how to use a lawnmower and how to mow the lawn, because they had never been taught any of that stuff. So back to, like, it doesn't have to be money. It can be your time. And there's so many ways to help. There's so many ways to give back. And it's just finding something that you're passionate about, that speaks to you, and that you feel like you can make an impact with. And it can be a certain time of year. It can be year round, whatever it is. But I think, just like Chris said, going out and doing something, and that feeling you get of knowing that you're helping someone. I always wished I could have, like, a little camera in everyone's house as the kids, like, open up the gifts and see their faces and stuff. So, not a creepy way, and just see the kids open their gifts. It's just awesome. It makes you feel good. It gives you, it becomes like addictive. It's like, okay, what else can I do? How else can I help? How else can I give back? And I didn't even know a lot of the resources or the things that the foster care was looking for until I went to that gala, and found out all these other ways that they're looking for help and looking for volunteers and money and things like that. So there's endless amounts of ways that you can help. And it's just finding something, if it seems overwhelming, just start small and go from there, and just do what you can, and just make sure that it's something that you enjoy doing and gives you that feeling of, I'm helping out, I'm giving my time, I'm giving my money, I'm giving something that is helping another person and making their day better and their life better. So
yeah, I think starting small, I think, is the smallest, and yet one of the biggest things you can do is spreading the word, just talking about it, whatever it is. Because I know with us at Elevate, that has been the biggest, is being able to spread the word on what that community is doing, or whatever your nonprofit that you like, or something you've seen. spreading the word is the easiest thing that you can do that can make the biggest impact. And that for us has made the biggest difference. It's connected us with other communities. It's connected us with other volunteers. It's connected us with the college to help us create our curriculum for our college in Cote d'Ivoire. There's so much. And like Emma said, Chris got to meet our partner Stefan at one of her events. I met him separately at another event. And once we realized, he's like, wait, you guys are husband and wife. And then we had him over for dinner. And that same night, we started our virtual assistance program. It's amazing how much our Coconut Wireless works. And I think that's the biggest, easiest way that you can start by giving back. If you ever stop to think about it, is just talk about it, spread the word about something that you've heard about, seen, or even just cared about, but haven't been able to give back in other ways.
Yeah, and I feel like a lot of people feel like they don't want to talk about it because they feel like it's bragging or boasting. But I think we need to change how we think about it. And we're not all on here to be like, hey, look how amazing we are. Like, we're here to share and to bring more light to it and to bring more attention to it, because I think the more people that do speak about it and do talk about the stuff that they're doing, I love when people tell me that they're not donating to me because they started doing it in their own community. Like, that is the best thing for me to hear. And I think we need to start looking at it as like, this isn't to boast and say how great we are. It's to bring light to these things and to talk about giving and make it more normalized and more just an everyday thing. And like, it can be something small. I mean, literally saying hi to somebody walking by, or a simple gesture, a simple compliment. Like, you never know, even that can make such a big difference in someone's life. So
Yeah, Lisa and Troy, I wanted to ask the two of you, because I think that your skill set of all of us in here, it tends to be the one that gets most people are asking you, like, hey, can you take a look at something for me? Like Troy, you with the auto mechanics and also with the IT, and then Lisa, you with the finance stuff. If people have questions about, especially when they're getting into trouble, have you noticed that you have a lot of opportunities to just serve informally like that when people come to you and ask you those kind of questions? Because I know sometimes it can be a lot and you're like, oh, I feel like all I'm doing is helping people for free. But when you kind of chalk that up into this is part of my giving back, I don't know. Can you tell me a little bit about that, Lisa, and then maybe Troy after?
yeah, I mean, I definitely all the time getting people asking about whether it's investing or budgeting. Like, my background being finance, I love numbers, I love budgets, I love spreadsheets. Most people don't. So to help people with that and to educate them on that, because so many people don't have that skill, they don't have that education. And I don't think I've ever thought of it as like, oh, another person, like free help, just because what I get from that and what I know and how I'm helping someone and how I'm helping them, especially financially, to get something done. Like, I just had somebody message me the other day. I made a post about self-directed IRAs. And like, do you know where all of your self-directed IRAs? And I had a woman reach out to me and she goes, yeah, we actually have no idea. Like, my husband 20 years ago worked for this company. Like, how do I even go about finding that? Like, just helping those situations. Like, I just think of like the impact that could have where, okay, this woman is now going to go find this IRA from 20 years ago that has probably been sitting and doing nothing, and is now going to allow them to invest that money and do something with it and help grow their wealth and help make them better. Like, to me, that's such a good thing. And, and I'm very, buckets of money. And if it's something that you really want to do, like, you can build that into your budget. You can build that into, everyone says pay yourself first, put money into your retirement, but you can do the same for charities, and you can do the same for charitable donations. So there's so many ways that I feel like I can help people and that I do with giving my time. But when it's something that I know people are going to take action on and is going to help them, it doesn't feel like work. Like, again, it's that feeling of I just made an impact on somebody that I hope they go and tell their friend, hey, I didn't even think about my 401k, or I didn't even think about donating at Christmas to the foster kids. And it just becomes a snowball. Like, if everyone I help helps one person and helps one person, like, you just think of that ripple effect that can happen from helping one single person and how that could lead to something. So, yeah, I'm all for helping people with their finances, budgeting, how to work charitable donations into their finances for sure.
Yeah, it's kind of amazing to me how many of our investors, when we're talking about when we're just visiting, checking in with each other, how are things going, are talking about the charities that they're donating to. So when they get their distributions, they have earmarked certain charities that they just send it straight over to. And I think that's why like a lot of our investors inspire us, because we want to invest with people who have the same values, but it goes both ways. They're telling us about what they're doing, and we thought we need to talk about this more. Troy, how about you? I know that over the years you have donated countless hours to helping people fix their computers and fix their cars. Have you ever thought about it as like part of your giving?
No, I really haven't thought about it much at all. It's just, it's just something you do. just being a good person. Like I haven't thought about it as overwhelming, or if it, or out of my way or whatever. I think people just naturally want to help other people, and if you're finding somebody that's looking for help and you're able to do that, I feel like most people are excited to give that help freely, and that's how I am. Is if somebody needs help and they want it, then I just don't give it a second thought. I just go out and help them if I'm able to do it. So I can't really say much more to it than that.
Well, yeah, I think a lot of us feel guilty, like we should be doing more, because we're not thinking about those kinds of things as helping people and giving back to our communities, just our neighbors, helping them with stuff like that. Zasha, can you just share quickly as we're kind of wrapping up here, a little bit about the investor vision and the types of things that you're seeing or hearing our investors talk about, or the projects, and how we can help them with some of those missions that they feel driven by?
For me, I mean, it's always community first, and thinking about, I think we all have the ways that we grew up, our certain values, and what drives us, right, is to help people maybe that were in our position growing up. So for me, it's always been about more affordable housing, getting more people into homes, especially in expensive markets, because it's very tough here in Hawaii. But I think once you do come into money, or maybe have saved enough money, I think that is key in teaching people how they can invest it while also doing good. Because I think Chris touched on it a lot, is like a lot of people who I grew up around were always thought like, don't talk about money, and people with a lot of money don't do good with it, or they're bad, right? So for me, it's one, breaking that stigma, but then also teaching people like how you can turn around that narrative that you've already had in your head, or maybe you grew up with, and trying to get out of that. And also just like thinking forward of, it's not only about you, right? It's also about other people. Once you get set, of course, when you're just struggling to get by, it's very hard to think about other people. But once you're at a good place in your life and can start giving back in little ways, in big ways, to really just put that at the forefront of how you do things in the future and how you invest your money. And so I feel like a lot of our investors are drawn to each and every one of us individually, because they know it's more than just about how much returns they're going to get. They know that investing with us, we care about them individually as people as well. We're not this huge corporation where they're just another number. They want to see what we're doing, see our projects, what we're up to, and we're very open as well. But I think the number one thing that stands out to me, even about all of you guys, is that we do things with purpose. We do things with a mission in mind. We do things, I feel like, for the betterment of the world. And so when you're that type of person, you attract people like that are more caring, that do put others first sometimes, and that, want to leave a legacy, I feel like, of good, with integrity, and really be stewards of this earth, this world.
And there's
Yeah, and you're involved in an affordable housing project. So this is one thing we're just kind of wrapping up with is we've talked a lot about random acts of kindness, starting huge foundations or huge projects, also volunteering for those larger organizations. But something that you're doing and that also we're doing here at Rotoro Capital is using the business as a way to give back. So can you tell us briefly about your affordable housing development that you're working on? Because especially since you experienced housing insecurity when you were young, you could see how this kind of drives you to be able to create these things in Hawaii where people need it. And then, like I said, we're at Rotoro, we feel like we're supporting not only our own charitable missions, but I feel like we're helping an army of philanthropists by working in a business, not a nonprofit, that they are going to then donate or their profits out to philanthropic causes. So it can happen not only through volunteering and donating, but it also can happen through entrepreneurship. So can you tell us a little bit about that project?
Well, I think it all starts with like, even as you grow in your investing journey, if you're fixing and flipping, you're an active investor, you can sell to maybe a family in need. You can choose, well, if you're not licensed, right? So I'm not a licensed realtor or anything like that. But even when it comes to your rental properties, right? Choosing maybe a family that's on assistance or that has Section 8 or HUD vouchers, like giving those people also a chance to live in a newly renovated home or one of your rentals in a good area. It's little things like that, small changes that you can then it kind of goes down it affects more than you, right? So I think you can start even if you are on the active side of investing and maybe do have inherit homes or anything like that. Just think of ways that you can also, like we just talked about, just have a bigger impact than just renting for cash flow. And so that's why in the end, for me, my biggest project is going to be this affordable housing property that we got. It's 32 lots and we're trying to figure it out. So, right, we don't have everything figured it out just because we've done so many projects and we're a part of, bigger companies. We've never done it before. So it definitely is a learning process. We're trying to work with some nonprofits, work with the fund, and just figure out the numbers behind it, because at the end of the day, we can't be negative, but we also, are trying to achieve our mission of keeping it affordable. So we may have to sell off a few just to keep the rest of the project going and stick to that mission. But, we're kind of figuring it out as we go. And for me, that's the beauty of it, is that now that you have ownership, you get to choose what you can do next. And I think a lot of people, and especially our investors, appreciate that. And just knowing, like we mentioned, it's bigger than us, and to know that it's not just about the dollar. It's about, okay, how can we actually help people through housing? And that's what real estate investing is, right? You're buying properties, or you're investing in properties, you're investing in projects, in the people that work at the projects as well. I think we didn't even dive deep into that, and how you're supporting your community in providing jobs. And so
Yeah.
That's really huge for us here too.
Yeah, I remember the day that I hired a housekeeper, like for the first time. I have 6 kids, I was drowning, and I hired a housekeeper. She was a single mom with 3 kids, and she was trying to stay homeschooling after her divorce, and she would bring her kids to work with her. And I just remember the day that I realized, like, I'm supporting a family, like, because people say, like, we'll work for food type of thing. And I feel like there are 2 types of people who will work for food, and people who need to have charity to provide some of those things. And I feel like it was this wonderful realization that we can be on both sides of that by providing jobs, by helping people who can and are willing to work, and also helping people who can't. And we can come at it from all angles, big and small, for-profit, nonprofit, all sorts of different ways. So just get creative out there. We want the opportunity to help steward your money carefully, because we realize, like, the higher calling that your money often has when we pay those distributions out to you, and it motivates us to do an even better job when we are investing your money with our network of real estate entrepreneurs, people who are borrowing money from us so that they can build houses, and it's just this domino effect. So we would love if you share these values and you're kind of identifying with these stories, like this is the kind of person that we would love to invest with, and that's the message we want to put out there. If you have a cause that you really want to help, we can help you get that done. So I appreciate everybody coming tonight, and I appreciate everybody here sharing your stories. And let's go ahead and bid farewell. You can go to our website at rci.com, and you go retourocapitalinvestments.com/webinar to sign up for all of our events. We do this once or twice a month, and we have lots of different variety of topics. If there's something that you want to hear us address, there's something that you want to learn how to do, or a person that you want to meet, just let us know, and we'll plan an event around. Sasha is our event planner, so let her know, and we will see you again next month. Thanks everybody for joining.
We go.